All right, so big night from Boogie Cousins. The Warriors able to hold on, and no Kevin Durant, right? And they have always seemingly over the last couple of years, Coach, had to play with somebody missing for a long period. So I know they're used to it and they have enough pieces, but how much more impressive is that than maybe some might give credit for? I know they have Steph. We know what Clay did, and certainly Boogie helps, but that's without a guy who many consider to be, at worst, maybe the second or third, if that, best player in the game in Durant.
I think it's a great night for Steve Kerr to send a message to the team that, listen, as well as Houston's played against us, and a couple of seconds ago I was just praising Houston's ability to think that they can beat Golden State. From Steve Kerr's perspective, he can go in that locker room and say, hey guys, we just went on their floor without Kevin Durant, and we beat him. And that's a good thing for us heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, and, you know, you talked about Boogie. We talked about it before with the game he had. High for the Stars, he had 27. But I like the fact the other numbers, too, doing the little things. So a couple of times on defense, maybe not able to find his man. And it's tough sometimes with the rim runners they have with guys like Capella and tonight Fareed. But how about Boogie in this spot, getting a chance to play big games? And talk about that as a player, Booze, because I don't think we give that enough credit for. This is a guy who is now having an opportunity that he's always waited for, that he had for a year in college, and has always been on teams trying to chug and get there. Now he's on the team, in the group, and he got a chance to show it tonight against Houston.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, he's got a chance now to possibly win a championship. This is a huge game, obviously, in the middle of March on Houston's floor. I think he played his best basketball game. They went to him down the stretch. He was making great passes. He's an underrated passer. Very impressed with his 7 assists. And to see him scoring at an efficient clip, 11 for 16, that's a great number for Boogie. Hopefully he can build on this as the final stretch comes down and the final of the rest of the season and put it into the postseason.
We take a look at the pretty pictures out and able to hang on by a thread, but a thread's enough. 106-104.
You know, think about this. We've seen a couple guys now this season try to miss their last free throw intentionally and miss the rim altogether, which you have to hit the rim.
Big 30-point game for Clay, inside and outside. Sometimes both coaches we saw in the same play. Here he is with Doris Burke.
Like I said, Jonathan, that game didn't mean anything. It's just another game.
Mike, what do you take away from that one? I mean, but you guys are able to come back and almost find a way to finish this thing off.
Well, what I take away from it is that we had way too many plays, especially the first quarter, and there was a lot in the second half. Not always, but and it's the third quarter actually. We just didn't do what we have to do. Now I don't know if that's new guys coming in. They haven't played against Golden State that much, but there was way too many times that we didn't get to the shooters. We weren't up. We were ball watching. We didn't rotate off guys we were supposed to. I mean, way too many times. Too many times we didn't box out when we did stop them or they missed. And you just can't give them that many chances, and we just can't be that way. We just got to tighten it up. We got another 12 games, 13 games to get it tightened up. Some of them, I just told them, you win 9 games and you finish it kind of lackadaisical in the 2 wins, and you come in and guess what? You're lackadaisical. You don't have good championship habits. And we came out like we were playing one of the 9, the last part of the 9 games. And we'll talk about it. We got to get it better. I've got to, work Daniel House in there. It's another athletic body that we got to work in. But, they played well. They did what they're supposed to do. We just didn't do it.
So, Mike, what changed when y'all outscored them 15-4 down the stretch? Just wasn't quite enough to get over the hump.
Yeah, like I said, nobody in this league can hold leads, right? So, no, I don't know. We just scored. We just, went to the basket more. We found a little thing that was working. Hit some shots. Again, we just didn't, holding them to 21 points in the second and fourth is great. That's really good. But them scoring 31 and 33 in the first and third is ridiculous. And especially when you don't have Durant to deal with, and we let guys get off that should they, and I'm not trying to diss anybody, but they have 2 great shooters on the floor. Cousins won't get what Cousins get. They got 2 great shooters, and we just let them get open, but we didn't switch. We were watching Cousins, and they didn't, we just didn't do the right thing.
If Cousins is going to be in pre-injury form, like he looked like he was tonight, how does that alter the dynamics
Well, it gives him another opportunity to score. I mean, he's good in there, but, you know, that's where Nene will be able to help a little bit. But again, and as good as he was, and he was good, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I just thought where we got beat was too many times that, you know, Klay Thompson came off a screen and we were a little bit back and we weren't up. Too many times that they missed a shot, they got a second offensive rebound, got a three, or kicked it back out, got it, you know, something went on. Just too many times. You can't do that against a championship team like this. And that's where we've been successful. Either they missed when we screwed up, which sometimes happens, or in the playoffs last year, we just didn't screw up that many times. And tonight we just had too many mistakes.
Still pretty low-scoring game for these two teams. I feel like if you guys ever got your normal.
Yeah, well, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't. You know, James got cooked in the last three quarters. The first quarter, I didn't think he had a very good first quarter offensively. But that happens. We just got to get. You know, I don't know. I have to look at the tape exactly, but it's always going to be kind of a knockdown, drag out with these guys because they switch everything. So it's going to be a little slower, and it's hard to, you know, get a great rhythm up because they're switching everything, we're switching everything, and a lot of times just one-on-one stuff or whatever, or they end up with Cousins going one-on-one, and it just is a slow game. But that's how it's always going to be.
With the switching that they do, does it become more 2 points at a time than typically with your games or typically with theirs?
Yeah, no, that's what they're good at. That's why they're hard to beat because they switch very well. But we did find a little bit of formula, like, you know, down the last 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and wasn't enough. But you know, and again, you know, it's one game, and I understand that it's, you know, right now it's just one other game. We're probably tied for third, fourth, and fifth, whatever that is. And we got to now make a little bit of a run. It's, you know, in the long run, hopefully this helps us to understand our problems and fix them.
Coach, winning three games in 4 nights, did that have anything to do with some of the hustle?
Could have. I mean, you know, that's a good, you know, it's an excuse, you know, probably losers would say, yeah, that's, you know, if you're a loser, you go, yeah, I was tired, I couldn't do it tonight. So, yeah, I get it. No, you know, it is. I get it, but it isn't. That's too bad. You know, that's just the way it is. And we didn't have practices because after back-to-back, you always have a day off. So we didn't get to really, you know, dress rehearse what we're trying to do. And we had some new guys. So, yeah, we've got all the excuses in the world, and that's super, but it's not good enough.
Do you feel like Chris, James, and Eric did against the pace?
Pretty good, I think. I mean, I have to look at it. I know James came up a big steal one time for sure. You know, I have to look at it.
More so just them attacking the Warriors off the dribble.
Yeah, you know, Cousins made his three and made his little mid-range jump shots. But, you know, again, he's going to do that, and he's really good at it, and that's great. But with just too many second chance points, too many times we just messed up the initial defense. And when we did that lets their talent go ahead and beat us. And they do have a lot of talented guys, but we just can't mess up like that.
Coach, you mentioned their initial defense. You talked about the new guys on the roster. Is just experiencing Golden State, the talent that they have, just a learning lesson in and of itself, more so than just watching film?
Well, it better be. You know, sometimes you don't learn a lot when you win. You know, we try to teach them when you win. That's the easiest way to do it if they will be receptive to it. But if this didn't get their attention, then we're in big trouble. I mean, there's no doubt. It'll get their attention, and we just got to figure some things out and just do a better job. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right, there's Coach D'Antoni. You know, the Rockets had really kind of shored up all that defense on their side. Meanwhile, today, different story. Even without Kevin Durant, and Boogie, to Booz's point, helped him create a lot of those easy shots. He was credited. You heard Clay, who led everybody in scoring, who said, hey, look, that's the reason we won this game. Here's Steve Kerr on the Big W.
We've got to remind ourselves that this is still pretty early in the process. I don't know how many games he's played for us, 20. We're all learning. You know, me too. I got to learn how to use him better. I thought we used him better tonight. I thought he did a phenomenal job of just getting down on the block and controlling the game down there. So, you know, it's a good win for us, and we got 15 games left now to continue to figure out how to use everybody, the combinations, all that stuff. So this was a good night.
How do you use it better?
Well, I think we, changing the rotation, splitting up DeMarcus and Draymond seemed to be effective and space the floor a little bit more. And I thought DeMarcus did a good job getting down on the block. I thought Dot really did a good job of getting us organized, getting him down there, and we. I think Sean was like a plus 16 tonight, and our bench did a great job. Quinn Cook comes in, knocks down some shots. JB gave us big minutes, so really good team win.
Which kids you guys show what you did on the
We talked at our meeting this morning about how many three-pointers they miss. They miss about 30 a game, and so often they get long rebounds, and those are killers. So they only got 5 offensive rebounds off of those 30 missed threes. So I thought our guys just did a great job of boxing out, being physical, and going and getting the ball.
DeMarcus is never lacking for confidence, but did you think a game like this for him is a big stepping stone against the Rockets?
I just think it's a good stepping stone for us. It's more about the team than it is about any one individual. DeMarcus has had big games for us already, but just figuring out how the game has to feel, it's different with him. Right? We haven't had this kind of an option before, and sometimes we've played a little too fast and shot too many quick bad shots instead of letting him get down on the block and controlling things. So we're still learning, but this was a really good effort and a good example of how it should look.
Steve, Marcus had some of his best performances, at least scoring-wise, on the road. Do you think there's a comfort level for him when he is on road games at all?
You got to ask him. Thanks, everybody.
Meanwhile, Steph Curry, after the big win, speaks.
They held the fort down, continue to build momentum. Obviously, Houston goes on a run middle and towards the end of the second quarter, but they're a talented team, so that's liable to happen. But defensively, they made their presence felt the whole night, and DeMarcus was unbelievable. Clay made some tough shots. We moved the ball, but defensively is where we won the game tonight.
Steph, what do you think got DeMarcus going tonight?
We made a concerted effort to try to feed him in the post because the way that they play defense. But he's DeMarcus Cousins. I know he's been through a lot this last year and had some ups and downs since he's been back, but nothing he does out there should surprise anybody. It's just just building that consistency, and he's done an amazing job of that. It's only going to get better for us.
Kind of been some chatter that this could be a tough matchup for him against Houston. It was just kind of the flip side of it tonight. You mentioned kind of going to him and posted a different thing for you guys in this matchup.
Yeah, the playoffs things get there's so many adjustments and things like that, but tonight he proved that obviously he can make it tough defensively in terms of just making him take tough shots, and then make or miss. We got to expose some stuff on the other end. So tonight was a good step. It's obviously the regular season and a lot more work to do, but I think the way that he played his entire minutes he was out there, you knew where number 0 was at all times.
Seth, what was the key approach you guys took in adapting without Kevin?
Understanding obviously you're missing 28 points, it's tough. But you got to do it by committee. So, myself, Clay, DeMarcus, obviously just being aggressive when we had the ball in our hands, but I think we moved the ball, especially that second unit. They came in and everybody who touched it was a threat. Whether, again, make or miss, we just try to put pressure on them. I don't know how many turnovers we had, but it didn't feel like a lot, so kept them out of transition. And then knowing defensively it was going to be the way that we won this game, we weren't going to outscore them. We had to, buckle down and get stops and just try to control the tempo of the game as much as we could.
Steph, Steve talked about how it's been an adjustment for everyone at the Marcus. Usually you think of a player coming in, he has to adjust to you guys, but how have you guys had to adjust to him?
I mean, for as long as I can remember, we haven't had a guy that you can just throw the ball into the post and work around him. So just certain sets that coach can pull out of his back pocket to feature him in the post. But for the most part, it's just there's so many threats and weapons. You got to. It's kind of like when KD was here the first time, his first like 2 or 3 months. There's a little sensitivity to how everybody's going to get their shots. And at the end of the day, we're all talented. We all have high IQ, basketball IQ. So just let things happen. You don't have to force anything. We've been good at times and not so good other times. So it's just a matter of sticking with the program of just playing basketball at the end of the day and having fun doing it. I think tonight we have fun. It looked like our body language and our energy and understanding with K out, we needed that boost and everybody brought it.
What kind of place